This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. What you just heard there was me having a little bit of fun with, amongst other things, a particular rhythmical technique in both the riffing and the soloing in that piece of music, which is kind of pertinent to what we're going to be talking about today, because today is Wednesday, and on Wednesdays we kind of look at, or I look at viewers' questions and put them under the microscope a little bit and hopefully try and answer them to the best of my ability. If you have any questions of a guitar or music related nature, then get in touch with me. You can see the website address at the top of the screen there, link in the description. Use the email form right there and give me a shout and tell me what it is you want to know. Either that, or you can email me direct, jrguitartuition@gmail.com, or you can just leave a comment below this or any of my other videos, and who knows, your question could get featured in one of these Wednesday videos. One chap who did get in touch was called Mike, and he had a question about using repetitive licks.
Hi John, a while back you did a video on using repetitive licks in solos. That was really useful, but I still sometimes sound like I'm just going round in circles. My question is this: how can I play repetitive riffs and licks without sounding like I'm just playing the same thing? How do I stop it sounding boring, I suppose? Great channel, by the way, Mike.
So, Mike, it's all about how you play around with the timing, I find, usually, of a repetitive lick. Here's a little bit of an explanation.
Here is the explanation.
Okay, so it's all essentially about timing, and if we take a look at the first bar of the riff at the beginning of the tune, it goes like this. Like that, and you can see that there's this little repetitive figure of notes here. Okay, that's basically where the riff came from, just kind of doing that and then thinking about how I could work with the timing to kind of make it sound more interesting. Because if you were to play this, like this, it just sounds a bit flat and boring. So here are the notes in the riff. You can see it's E and then another E. You'll see there that the capital E is the low E string, and the lowercase e, I'm using that to denote the 7th fret on the A string, like that. But it's basically E, 2 E's, a D and a B, and then right at the end there's a G. But we're not going to... the interesting stuff has already happened by the time we get to the G. So if we take a look at how this riff is counted, we can see that we've got semiquavers, 16th notes, 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. And if we look at like the first cycle of that riff, there it is there, you can see it's going 1 E and 2 E, like that. Okay. Then if we look at where the next cycle of the riff comes in, notice how it's the same notes, but it's starting on a different part of the beat. This is starting on the A, the 2 E and A, the last quarter of beat 2, if you like. It's starting on basically in a different place in relation to the beat, which is what makes it sound syncopated. And you'll also notice that there's that in the first cycle of the riff, it goes straight from the D to the higher version of the E right at the end. And you'll notice I've put a little pause in between the D and that E note on the second cycle of the riff. So it's just playing about with the time, making a familiar note, a note that you've already heard, and you know the kind of melodic shape of the riff, you're familiar with that, but it's happening in a displaced manner. And if we put these in, these are the metronome beats, if you like. This is where the strong beat in each strong beats in the bar are, like that. So if you're playing it to a metronome, which is something I would highly encourage, this is where you time the notes that are shown underneath the arrows to be the ones that land on the metronome beats. So that basic technique of taking a phrase, repeating it, but repeating it in a different place in relation to the beat. I do that several times in like the lead guitar parts as well. So there's one lead guitar part where I think I start this one of the first licks in like the solo where I go. Again, just a simple little repetitive lick. But what makes it work is, again, if we look at how many notes are in that, there's 1, 2, 3 notes in that. And a repetitive lick where there are 3 notes in it, if you're playing in any kind of time signature or rhythm where you're dividing the time up by 4, like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 16th notes, semiquavers basically, then you've got 4 beats in the bar and each beat is divided by 4. So if you've got a repetitive kind of cycle of notes which is being divided by 3, then there's that kind of displacement there, which is what makes it sound cool. So what's happening with that riff is it's going 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so on. So basically this note here, okay, this bend, you will naturally perceive that as the strong note. You'll tend to emphasize that a little bit more, and because you're placing that emphasis at a different point within the beat landscape of the rhythm each time, it just sounds more interesting and funky and cool. Another one that I did in that solo was pretty soon after that lick, actually, was where I played this little 3-note lick. Again, exactly the same principle of playing a repetitive group of 3 notes over a rhythm which is divided by groups of 4. So again, in terms of the count, that's going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. And again, because this note here is the beginning of the repetitive cycle, you'll tend to accent that just that little bit heavier. It's without even realising you're doing it, usually, without kind of, without making a conscious effort to do so, and that emphasis is landing 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. So it's landing on a different point of the beat each time, and therefore you're getting that syncopated, rhythmic, interesting kind of feel. So, a great way of making repetitive licks and repetitive riffs sound just that little bit more interesting. Try and displace them rhythmically like that. Obviously, you need to have some kind of awareness of where you are in terms of the rhythm, whether that be just an intuitive awareness that you can kind of hear this sound that this kind of displaced syncopation kind of thing gives you, and you can just do it, or you start off by playing with the metronome, counting it meticulously and getting it to the point where it's fluent and you don't have to think about it and it's something you can do as second nature. Either way is a valid way of doing it. I did it the first way. I did it by learning loads of licks that have this, thinking of the famous All Right Now lick. That lick there, I learned that and just kind of gave it that sort of da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da kind of feel without realising what I was doing was syncopation and rhythm, and then kind of later on learned exactly what it was that I was doing, pretty much when I was having to teach it to other people. So whichever way you go about doing it, it's all about getting that that rhythmic awareness that will allow you to, do things that with the rhythm that you wouldn't be able to do if you didn't have the rhythmic awareness. So there you go, syncopation, polyrhythms, and rhythmic displacement. Great ways of making rather sort of, frankly, mundane little riffs and licks and stuff sound good in a rhythmically interesting way. So now you know what's going on. Go away and have some fun with it. And as always, you'll find a full tab for that piece of music in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and a jam track for you to play along with yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is in the description. $3 or £2.50 a month gets you access to all of these additional resources that go along with these YouTube videos. A massive, massive thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are linked down in the description. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like while you're at it? Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars. Great way to kick off the weekend, and I would love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.